Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show. It's John Doyle again, filling in for Hank. Hank's still in recuperation. We again want to just send out the Hank Cisco Show, the NASD TV crew, thoughts and prayers and all of our heart to Hank. And we hope you'll stay tuned, even though I am not even marginally as interesting as Hank. But today, magically, we have Tony Tornado Penecale with us, who is actually interesting and exciting. So this should be a great show, not so much because of me being here, but because Tony's on the set. Tony's been a guest with us before. We're really glad to have him. We're going to find some stuff out about what's been going on in his life. So Tony, welcome to the Hank Cisco Show.
John, good to see you again. Thank you for having me again. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, it's really great. Hank's been really worried about sort of the program and what's happening, and this is one of those moments where I know that he will be completely satisfied with the experience.
I went to visit Hank on Sunday before the Super Bowl. We were talking in there, and he was tired, but the one thing he was saying to me, he goes, "I got to get you back on the show." And I said, "Well, Hank, I'm on the show Wednesday," and I didn't know if we were still going to do it. Rosemary called me yesterday, and she said, "We really need you," and I said, "Well, I'm here."
That's great.
I got you.
And it's super exciting. And one of the things we're doing is making sure these shows, I mean, they go online, right? So as Hank says, he's worldwide. His shows can be seen anywhere in the world on demand through NASD TV's Hank Cisco Station channel. But in addition, we send him DVDs so that he can sit and watch those. And as much as I may not be as exciting as him, I know he's happy to see his show is going on. So, so that's where we are. Listen, I know that one of your original purposes for coming this particular day to the show was to talk about your Phillies costume, the hat that you wear. Can you tell me what's going on with that costume that we've seen and loved on the show before?
Well, last year I was down in spring training. I go every year. This is going to be my 12th year coming up in about 5 weeks. And I'm sitting there having a drink with a friend of mine, and I said, "You know what? I think it's time I retire the hat and cape." And his jaw hit the floor, and then he stopped and he looked at me and he goes, "You're going bigger and badder, aren't you?" And just by chance, we all know the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year. Go Eagles. And with the Jason Kelsey Mummers outfit, designed by James May, who was a former guest, they had put me in contact with him. So he and I started talking around the fall of this year. Come to find out that he was good friends with my good friend's father-in-law. So we had a few conversations, and I don't think I had sold him at first that I was serious about getting this done.
Right.
Because I had sent him a few photos, and he at first was, and he was kind of hesitant until we had an in-person meeting about 4 weeks ago. And we both just clicked immediately. I had brought the hat and cape there. I was going to bring the hat here today and retire it live on the air, but he still has it.
Yeah.
He's using it as a template for the new one he's designing, and he says it's going to be glitzy. I showed up wearing this shirt. I'm like, I'm in a satin red shirt. I've worn sequin tuxedos. Yeah, glitzy's no problem to me.
That's great. I can't even imagine what it's going to look like. May is such a talented designer, right? And as you said, he's a guest on the show, and he talked about the sort of hat they have made for sort of to generate some charitable funds.
It's the 2018 championshiphat.com, I believe it is, which benefits the Mummers Against Cancer Foundation. James and I had a nice talk about that. I've been actually featuring that on my Facebook fan page as well, dedicated to my Phillies superfan persona.
Right, and we'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. So you have the new hat coming, right?
Yes.
And your hat is currently being sort of designed for that. Why don't you hold up that picture? Even though we'll be talking about this later, that's the outfit. And we'll have that up on the screen, and it's spectacular. So, before we move forward, can you tell me a little bit about what spring training is like for you? Like, I know people who've gone to spring training, but it seems to me that it must be a different experience for you. So, tell me about that.
I go down there, and I've gotten to know so many people down there. One of the ushers that works in the stadium was actually a former coach in high school of Torrey Smith that played for the Eagles. So he was his guest of honor at last year's Super Bowl. Another one of the ushers actually works for the company that's my main client right now. So we have a lot of mutual friends. But when I go down there, like I'll go to breakfast. Last year I showed up a day early, and I went in just in regular attire, saw the owner who has actually come to visit me in Philadelphia. Okay. I winked at him, shushed him, and I snuck in, sat at the counter. And the waitress comes over, she goes, "Hi, can I take, oh my God, what are you doing not dressed up?" I said, "I'll be back tomorrow, relax."
Okay, great.
But just going down to the stadium, I've gotten to meet so many people. I put a post on Facebook about a month ago when it was about, 12 degrees out. And I said, 59 days, not that I'm counting. And one of the bartenders commented and said, I heard a rumor of a new outfit.
Oh, really?
So yes, Clearwater's already ready.
That's
they already
exciting.
know. And 5 weeks from Friday, I'll be down.
And so when you're at spring training, like what are you doing? Like, I mean, you're watching the team, right?
Yeah.
But like, sort of, what's the experience like? Like, is it a community of people watching? Like, how's it work?
Well, I actually meet friends down there.
Okay.
And I get down there, and they'll wake up around noon and shuttle into the game.
Right.
I usually get up in the morning, run 4 miles, go to breakfast, get in when the stadium opens at 10:30
Okay.
to watch batting practice.
Great.
To watch the young guys, to see, hey, we may got some young guys on this team, but these are guys you might want to watch going forward. And then we go up right by where the bullpen is. I get to watch the starting pitcher do his warm-up tosses. And there have been times that I met the general manager of their minor league team, the Threshers. He's let my friend and I wear the 2008 World Series championship ring for photos.
Okay.
Got stuck on my finger one time. He threatened to amputate my finger. And then just after the game is over, the tiki bar stays open, and they bring a DJ in, and it's just a fun, laid-back, enjoyable atmosphere.
Talk to me then about like last season. Tell me about your feelings about how last season went and your hopes for this season.
Well, last season, you're bringing a new manager in, and going into the season, the expectations were mediocre at best. And then they jumped out to a fast lead, and
Right.
they caught everybody by surprise, but I think reality caught up to them a little bit. But at the same time, they're bringing pieces in. They still got 1 or 2 pieces that we're still waiting on.
Right.
But you still brought a couple good pieces in. You got quality players in the minors. I go up to a couple of their minor league games and watch their minor league guys. You have quality players in this organization. They just need to develop. And if they all develop at the same time, you bring 1 or 2 of those other major pieces in, you remember having another parade sooner than you expect.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah.
Oh, very exciting. I like parades.
That's great. What's the role of a super fan? Like, what's your role? Like, what do you want to do when you're at the games?
I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy, as you see, I'm on the show today. I enjoy doing things like this, going to these events. Like sometimes I'll take up to 200 photos a game.
Okay.
And people have said to me, "Do you charge?" Absolutely not.
Right.
Never have, never will. Because you go there, you might meet some younger fans, throw your arm around, throw a big thumbs up, make their day. You talk to them. What do you think about the team? Funny thing is, a couple years ago, my very good friend, his sister-in-law had a couple of young kids, and they were going up to a minor league game that I was at. First time I'd seen them since their wedding when they were real small. So these kids didn't know me, but they all got their photo with me. And the one younger son, who was about maybe 11 at the time, saw me sign a couple autographs for some kids who thought I was more than I really am. So he is convinced I'm famous, sees me on TV at a game a couple nights later. The following week, my friend's son is being christened. I'm the godfather, wearing a Marlon Brando tie to the christening. And his mother pulls me aside afterwards. She goes, "Justin was asking to sit with you in the church." And I explained to him that you were in the front pew. And he looked and goes, "I don't see him. He's not in the hat and cape." I'm like, church in a hat and cape.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll fly, but
right.
but it brings up for a good laugh.
Yeah, it does. It's great. That's funny. So before we move on from Phillies, so one more thing. Like, what's your favorite Phillies memory? I know there's probably going to be an easy one. So let's take the-
2008 was fantastic.
Right.
But just all the times going to a lot of the games, I've got to meet some of the players down there, which has been nothing short of fantastic.
Right.
Being in games with seeing walk-off home runs and things like that, just the excitement and the atmosphere. I love that. Hey, I grew up a fan. I was 4 years old when they won in 1980. Yes,
Right.
I am that old. But nothing right now can top, seeing that last pitch in 2008, jumping up and landing on the ground saying, wow, we actually won.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, it was a great sort of experience for the
Yeah.
city and for people.
Oh, absolutely.
And how do you feel about people who jump on the bandwagon? You know what I mean? People always get that sort of complaint.
Oh, of course.
What's the super fan's role in the bandwagon folks?
My role is, if you're a fan, I want to greet you, and and I tell people, I've been with the good, I've been with the bad, but, obviously you're going to have more people when it's good. I know last year, even with the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, that same thing, that last Hail Mary pass, and I did almost the same thing. I jumped up and it hit the ground, and I was like, wow, Wow. And once again, another amazing parade. And
No,
I'd like to see another one of them pretty soon, too.
Well, and Philly knows how to celebrate, right? We
Yeah.
we have an amazing fan base. Tough. It can be tough,
Oh, yeah.
but the celebratory nature of the fans is amazing. So I'm glad that we sort of have the opportunity to participate in that.
Probably one of my favorite parts of last year's Super Bowl parade was when it was over after the great Kelsey speech and all that, and they were playing We Are the Champions
Right.
over the loudspeakers, and we were walking down Ben Franklin Parkway, headed back to the subways, and there were just people dancing. Just
Right.
dancing down the parkway, and I'm like, how much fun is this to dance down the Ben Franklin Parkway in the middle of the parkway?
No, super cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, social media was packed with
Oh, yeah.
amazing images of people just celebrating. It's great. It's really cool. So you're a boxer too,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And I know that matters to you, and
Oh,
we'll
of course.
talk a little bit about that. But I hear that you had sort of some encounters with the world of Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, I
you tell
did.
me
Yes,
about
I did.
about what happened with the movie Rocky Balboa?
When Rocky Balboa was set to come out in 2006, they were having open auditions at the right after Thanksgiving in 2005. And hey, with my boxing experience, and I'm Italian, I'm from Philadelphia, I'm like, I got to audition for this, open audition. And a couple days before the audition, I'm on vacation and my appendix ruptures. Didn't plan it, didn't want it, it happens. So I talked them into letting me out of the hospital on a Wednesday. They wanted to keep me till Friday. I said, I got an audition to go to. So I go down there, and my eyes must have looked glazed over from the medicine. Thankfully, I was standing in line with a guy that I actually boxed against about maybe 7 years prior.
Really?
And we became good friends because he looked at me and he goes, you don't look good. And I'm like, oh, I just had my appendix out 3 days ago. And he goes, I'll take care of you.
Okay.
So we stood in line together, and he tells the story better than I do. We're in line, and the casting director, Diane Heary, is taking everybody's headshots. I don't have a headshot. I got a boxing photo.
Right.
But she takes mine. She goes, I want you to read for a part. I said, me? Sure. She goes, I can see you being a white trash thug in a bar that picks a fight. I'm like, thank you. But I read for it, they got interviewed for the Inquirer, which of course my job sees, and I'm out of work on disability. They're like, thought you were out of work. And I'm like, come on, it's a weekend. They're like, we're messing you.
And you did get your appendix.
Yeah,
Like,
and I did.
legitimately.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a doctor's note. They're like, we're just messing you. So I didn't get that part. I wasn't physically big enough. They wanted a guy about 300-something pounds.
Right.
But I did get to be on set 2 days. I got edited out. Well, the one day I was on set, I actually left work to go down to the art museum for the last day of his shooting. And I told him where I was going. I was honest. Thank goodness, because CBS 3 catches me on the news. Well, I didn't tell my dad I was going. He calls me up and he goes, were you at work today? I said, yes, I was, sir. He's like, all day? I said, morning and afternoon. He goes, where were you midday? I said, why? He goes, you were at the art museum, weren't you? I'm like, how do you know? He goes, saw you in the news. I'm like, But I was honest. I got cut out of that one, and that hurt. I was a 28-year-old kid. I really didn't understand how movies worked at the time. And it was heartbreaking to me because I wanted it so bad. Redemption came this year.
Yeah, so you get your comeback, right?
I got the comeback, the
you get
Rocky
the
comeback, yeah.
And you get to go slug out again. So tell me about that story.
When they did, and I'll send you a better shot of that. That's a still shot from
Right.
Creed 2. Once again, Diane Heary. I had met Diane a few years after the Rocky Balboa audition. I had just showed up at another audition. She looks me dead in the eyes and goes, you're the appendix guy. Hey, you get a gimmick, you take anything you can get, right?
That's great.
Now you audition online. You send in a photo. One of the photos I sent in was myself and Mr. Burt Young, who played Paulie, met him at the Plymouth Meeting Mall. And I got an email, and they said, we'd like you on set a couple days for a major fight scene. Okay. They said, dress like you're front row VIP in Las Vegas. No problem. Threw on, one of my silver shirts, tie with a pink flamingo on it, sequined black vest, my trademark fedora. They look at me in wardrobe, they're like, you are Vegas to a T.
That's great.
So they put me in the front row behind, his real name's Andre Ward, Olympic gold medalist, former world champion. I sat behind his corner. So when they had the knockout scene, they show me over his shoulder. And I didn't see it myself the first time. I saw the movie.
Right.
My friend texts me, he goes, I saw you clear as day, doing what you do best, yelling. So I went back to see it again and saw myself.
Right.
And I was obviously elated.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
great.
my redemption. And then just by chance, a friend of mine who's a Philadelphia boxing trainer that I've known for a number of years played one of Michael B. Jordan, Adonis Creed's cornermen for that fight.
Right.
So we were hanging out in wardrobe. he posts the clip so that you could see him, but intends to see me as well. And I took a few screenshots and sent it to all my friends and said, here we go, here's the proof.
Great.
But doing it, I like to, once again, be over the top. So my joking role at work is the days after the 2 days I was on set, I walked in, demanded a red carpet, told them I'm going to be up for an Oscar.
Right.
And now I announce myself about 4 times a day as a major Hollywood A-lister.
Yeah, and there you go. Well, certainly you were a Las Vegas A-lister.
Hey, you take what you can get, right?
You know what? I've worked with extras before in sort of that role where you see people, and it is amazing how important wardrobe is.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, just people make tons of mistakes with continuity, but they're in for 2 days and they change their clothes for the second day. But also, wardrobe's looking for people who understand what they need it to look like, and so you can really get the place you want on set by coming the way you're asked to show up, right? They don't have to worry.
Exactly. A friend of mine who was on set, I was on Monday and Tuesday, which a day and a half of that was Las Vegas. The second half of the second day was the Ukraine, so that was a far travel.
Right.
Las Vegas to Ukraine, even though they were both in Delaware County. A friend of mine was Tuesday and Wednesday because he was for the more of the Ukraine fight scenes.
Right.
And he was in a polo shirt, and they had to cover up his tattoos.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I did a Facebook post about traveling to Vegas and the Ukraine in the span of a day, he commented, and I said, "Didn't I see you in the Ukraine? Couldn't recognize you without your tattoos."
Yeah, there you go. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, super cool. But so listen, we have to continue with our adventure with Rocky, right? So there's more stories to tell, and I think what I'd like to do is talk about Halloween. So I know,
Love Halloween.
And part of this is because Hank's on my mind all the time while I'm running the show. So tell me this amazing encounter with our hero Hank Cisco on Halloween.
I was going to the Trap Tavern,
Right.
only a few miles from here. I know the owner, Jay Reed, very well. They have a nice Halloween party. So this year I was like, I'm going to break out my old Rocky costume, and I'm doing black and gold. Rocky to me is black and gold.
Right.
The red, white, and blue didn't come until 3.
Right.
And I'm traditional like that. So I had the Italian stallion robe, the shirt. I have a pair of black boxing trunks. I do my own makeup. And this year I'm like, I'm going to wear the black and gold socks like he did in Rocky 2 with the tassels on them. My dad goes, nobody's going to notice that. So I'm at the bar, we're standing there, we're all having a drink, I'm talking to the band, and just by chance, Hank's daughter comes down looking for the restroom, and I bump into her, and she goes, my dad's upstairs, we're having a private party. So she brings me up, and his eyes light up.
Right.
One of the first things he said, he goes, I love the tassels on the boots. And I'm like, right there, I got you, Dad. Hank loved it. But we're doing photos together, and he had one where he's standing between myself and his grandson, like we're squaring off and holding the belt up, and my friend goes, looks like Rocky and Mickey, but it was, awesome that we got to hang out for about an hour that night.
That's cool. Yeah, that's great. And, Hank having the serendipity of the two of you guys together is amazing, right? Like, it just sort of happens. And the costume's great. I mean, I'm excited for us to be able to put that sort of really clean picture up over top of that so people can see it. Hank is relentless in his love of boxing, and so that moment must have been spectacular. And he has helped a lot of young folks sort of both get out of trouble and just experience boxing too. So
absolutely.
Really yeah. So that's your Halloween story. But another thing happens at the Plymouth Meeting Mall. You already alluded to it.
Yes.
Tell me about what happened with Paulie. Like, how's that come about?
It was the day after the home opener, 2017. I'm on my way to the game, and a friend of mine texts me. He goes, Burt Young is going to be at the Plymouth Meeting Mall tomorrow. You need to go. Sounds great. Okay, I'm there. And I put on Facebook that morning, hey, going to meet Burt Young today. Paulie, this is so cool. And a friend of mine comments, he goes, you don't have the guts to wear the Phillies outfit, which is a replica of the Apollo Creed Rocky outfit.
Exactly.
He goes, you don't got the guts to wear that. I said, oh, you don't think? Now I'm doing it. So I throw it on, I go down there, and I get to meet him. We photo together. He goes, love the cape. And I'm like, I just got endorsed by Burt Young.
That's fantastic.
But what a nice guy.
Yeah.
Really nice guy, and funny, great sense of humor. So I got to talk to him for a few minutes. And, obviously he was meeting other people there, so I only had a minute or so with him. But like I said, lasting impression, great guy.
That's cool.
Great guy.
And an amazing actor, right?
Absolutely.
His work in Rocky in particular is really amazing. It's a hard role to play.
Yeah.
That sort of, to be both charismatic and likable and also hugely problematic.
Yeah, like bitter, angry, alcoholic problems.
Exactly.
But also comic relief too.
Exactly, like it's such a complex role.
Yeah.
In a movie that is, I mean, in a great movie, but it's in the AFI Top 100 films. So it's, and that role is really fascinating.
And a memorable character. It wasn't just there for one. He played that in six movies.
Right, exactly. Yeah, super amazing. So we have you in Creed 2, and I'll let you know the film study here just watched Creed 2 here. They did the entire Rocky series in their film study here in school. So over a month and a half, they watched every single Rocky film on Tuesday afternoons and talked about them. And they just finished going out to see Creed 2, so that's super exciting. So let's jump our way back and talk about this sort of team tornado, right?
Yes.
Talk to me about that. What's that all about?
Well, I boxed for a number of years. I trained out of South Philadelphia. I boxed for Lock Haven University. I was an All-American for them. Our coach at the time, Dr. Ken Cox, was world known. He was one of the managers of the '96 Olympics team in Atlanta. But like I said, I got to train with a lot of great guys in South Philadelphia. And then I just kept up with it. Even though I had stopped competing, I just still kept training people. And the young lady in the photo, I knew her when she worked at the Trap Tavern.
Okay.
And one day she was on Facebook complaining that her class got canceled or something at the gym, which she was mad about. And I told her, I just called her out. I said, why don't you come over, I'll put you on the heavy bag for a few rounds and then see how much you want to complain. And she jumped at the opportunity. I can't get rid of her. That's a great thing, though.
That's good.
I pick on her. I call her Hollywood because the one time she's coming over for a session, she's doing selfies on the way there. And I'm like, Hollywood.
Right.
Get out of the selfies and get your butt to the gym.
Cool.
The other gentleman in the photo, and Hank's got to meet him several times, he's a police officer for Upper Gwinnett Township.
Okay.
I knew him when he was an 18-year-old kid at a fitness center, and we would talk, and a couple years later, I get a random email from a girl that I don't know. It was his wife. And he was trying to do one of those police officer versus firefighter boxing exhibitions.
Boxing things, yeah.
And the guy that was giving him some instructions didn't want to really pursue it in the corner role. He saw me while he was doing a traffic stop one day, recognized my vanity license plate and goes, that's the guy I want. So I've been training him off and on. He had a back injury, so he had been on the shelf, but he's back. And we filmed and edited a boxing video about a year and a half ago. It's on my YouTube page. And I invited Hank to come over to kind of be our MC. Okay. And that's where he's in the front of the photo. I have clips of him hitting the speed bag on there and talking about meeting Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali and Rocky Marciano.
Right, we have some of those pictures behind us. Yeah.
So he was our guest of honor that day. And then we didn't include it on the video, but we ended with a big pasta dinner. All the Italians, we got all of our pasta.
Indeed, and Hank and pasta dinners are, we went and we recorded a show at a local woman who makes pasta for casinos, whatever, beautiful. On the area. Homemade pasta, spectacular program. If people haven't seen it, they should look for it on the channel. And Hank went to interview her, but the majority of time he spent eating the pasta. It was far more pasta eating than it was interviewing. I shot a lot of video. Hank ate a lot of pasta. He asked a couple questions. We went home. But it was great. It's a good piece, but we'll run her contact information too. So
sounds great.
So this is all about sort of keeping yourself in shape, like
absolutely. Like I'll go to the gym every night after work. I work for part of Independence Blue Cross, but I'm on site with our largest client in Horsham.
Okay.
And what I do every day after work is I just go down to the local LA Fitness, and some nights I'll do cardio. One night a week I'll do weights. Other nights when they don't have classes in the room, I'll get in there. I'll do a few rounds on the bag, and then sometimes I'll drive home after traffic has died down. Meet either, as I call Matt, the Terminator, I call him Potato Head, Amy, Hollywood, but I'll have one of them come over and I'll work with them. Some nights I'll work out till 8, 9 o'clock at night because it keeps me active.
Right, I gotcha. So what is it about boxing? Like what makes boxing special in your mind? Like why is it the sport of choice here?
Because for me, it's, that individuality. It's that chance where, it takes the onus on you. You're the guy in there, and hey, your trainer plays a big part in it. The workout you do leading up to it, your cornerman, everybody plays a part, but the onus comes down to you. It's mental, more mental than physical, 90% mental. It is, because you have to have the confidence to go in there. You have to have the courage to go in there. You have to have, obviously, the physical ability to go in there, but you got to know that you've conditioned yourself to the highest degree, because you can't substitute and you can't lean on a teammate.
Right.
It's you. And to me, that is the most, I guess, pure of all athletic competition.
That's interesting. Yeah, Hank constantly talks about the mental aspect of boxing. I mean, it's one of the things he really does, and it's one of the things he talks about with kids is about the idea of focus and commitment to work. And Hank, 95 years old, doing a TV show twice a week. That's about physical commitment, right? And that's amazing. I'm anxious to see some of that. Maybe what we'll do is we'll tag at the end of this show one of those clips that you had with Hank.
Great.
We'll put some other stuff there too, but certainly that. So. I think that I'm not even sure how to switch gears to do this, but so much of what it seems is important in your life is entertaining others. Is like being it. So what do you get out of that? I mean, I know you talked about meeting people and making friends, but what's the experience of being out there and being the man in the super shiny shirt or the big hat or the beautiful Rocky costume?
A lot of everything comes down to is building relationships. You meet a person, I don't believe in chance encounters. You meet everybody for a reason. Okay. And somebody might come up to you just because they like the way you're dressed or they saw you at a place doing something, right? Mm-hmm. And you might build a relationship with them. I went to Hank's 94th birthday a year ago, met a few people there, and that's how I got eventually with the whole Jim May thing started evolving from that. Okay. And then I built a relationship with Jim. I've had people at events ask me, like, what's your rate for appearances? I'm like, I have a rate for appearances? And I'll make jokes about it. I'm like, I think I need to hire an agent. And people are like, I got a great guy in mind. I'm like, I'm just joking, but it's all, part of like the laughter of it. But building relationships, I don't believe like when people use the term, I use this to get this. No, I don't believe that. Because, Hank and I have built a relationship over the years, and we kind of built a relationship where he needs a great guest on the show. I'm happy to do it. And then at the same time, I'm getting exposure for some of the things I've done. We've partnered. Right. And we've both benefited from it. Mm-hmm. I believe in that.
And that's great. That's super. And, that's so much of what this show's about is about giving people opportunity to partner in a way that lets them get their word out, and it also keeps us on the air, right? Like
absolutely. John, the funny thing is, and I was showing the photo of some of my trainees and how I've met them, and I know it's going to segue into another topic we discussed. This gentleman that's a police officer, right? And like I said, I met him when he was 18 years old. We, reconnected about 2.5 years ago, and he's an Upper Gwinnett cop, which is by where Merck is. Right. And last year, we were putting an event together, a formal event for adults. Right, yeah. And we're going to talk about that. It was an adult prom. My idea came up a couple years ago because I wanted to do a promposal. Because all kids get to do fun things these days.
They sure do.
You kids get to do a lot better things than I did. I made the awkward phone call when I was 17. Right. But I needed a great place to do it. He got me the fire hall from Upper Gwinnett. He put me right in contact with them, and I was able to go in. I didn't have to, go through a form or anything. It was a contact person, and he was able to vouch for me, and he helped me there. I also partnered with the DJ. His name is DJ Shorty Rock. Look him up on Facebook or Instagram. Okay. He's fantastic. We met
DJ Shorty Rock.
DJ Shorty Rock.
Great. And you're going to remember that, Darius? DJ Shorty Rock.
It's a very appropriate name when you see him. But we saw him at an event a couple years ago, and my friend loved him so much, he goes, I want to book him for my wedding. He was booked that day. So when his wife wanted to do this event, because he and I joked about it, but he's not a planner, I'm not a planner. His wife is a planner. And she goes, I really want to do this. I said, I got one condition in mind. She goes, DJ Shorty Rock. I said, you know it. But my friend said to me when we discussed this, he goes, I didn't go to my proms. I said, we were in the same grade. I know you didn't go to your proms. And my senior prom, I was ready to graduate. I really didn't put any effort into it. And I talked to a friend of mine, and she didn't enjoy her senior prom. And we said, if we do this, I gave her the box of cannolis. I said, I can only ask one person to prom. That's great. And the cannoli spelled out prom. And
so the cannoli spelled out prom.
Yeah, I put on each cannoli is PROM question mark, and then the box that I can only ask one person.
That's great.
But we had a great time. We had a small event last year. We're going to do it again this year. It's going to probably be a little bit larger. Right. There is a video of me serenading my date with a sappy sentimental love song. It's on YouTube. It was Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back.
Great, nice, very nice.
But we had a great time, and all because I wanted to do a promposal.
Right.
and I wore my sequin black jacket with a sequin gold vest and sequin gold bow tie. My friend Mike borrowed my gold jacket, black vest, black bow tie. His wife did a white and gold gown. My date did a black gown. This year, our theme was Hollywood, so we did black and gold Hollywood theme.
Great.
Which my trainee, Amy, happened to love because it was
Right.
Hollywood. This year, we're doing Las Vegas as the theme. It's going to be red, black, and white.
Okay.
And I'm doing, as I wore to Hank's Christmas party, white sequin jacket, white silk shirt, red sequin vest, red sequin bow tie.
Okay.
My friend Mike is going black, red, and black.
Okay, great. That's cool. Very cool.
I haven't decided what I'm singing yet this year.
Well, we'll be anxious to check the YouTube page out and find out what you're singing. That's such an exciting experience. You know, so often here at the high school, I'll hear kids say, I'm not going to prom, or I don't want to go to that stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And it's you know, it's good for them to hear someone say, well, maybe I should have put more effort into that, or maybe I
Exactly.
should have been there. Because later on, you don't get those opportunities unless you make them, right?
Exactly. You know, and like I said, when you're in high school, you know, you get the opportunity that the school puts something together. You know, now it's a chance where we say, you know what, we made this mistake 20-some years ago. Let's go back and let's have that redemption.
Right.
Stories
That's
today is redemption, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that story seems to be redemption across the board. So listen, we're getting close to the end of the show. I have a couple of quick things I want to sort of get to.
course.
One of those is just to give you the opportunity to sort of look to camera, right into his eyes, and say a couple of words to Hank. So I'm just going to sit my way back out of the shot, let the kids take a shot of you in close up, and just say a couple of words to Hank, and then we'll sort of close out with one last question.
Absolutely. Hank, my friend, I'm praying for you. I love you. I'm wishing you the best in your recovery. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. And when you get out of the hospital, I am inviting you over. It's going to be on the air, so you got my word. Big pasta dinner. We talked about it, and now we're going to have it.
That's great. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
that.
Thank you.
My last question for you is going to feel like completely off track. It's just different than where we've been. But I have to ask you before you walk away, like, where do you get all of this clothing? Like, you just described a piece of, and I work in the theater, right?
Yes.
So I know what it means to try and find a sequined jacket. Like, where do you get these costumes? What's that exploration like?
I Google, and I put in these things, and sometimes, like, I think it's Men's USA.
Okay.
Is where I found these jackets. And originally, I had a gold one that I wore here a couple years ago for a Frank Sinatra fundraiser we
Yeah,
did.
indeed.
And then I was like, for the next one we're doing, I'm going to get the red one. Then I'm getting the black one.
Okay.
Then I got a white one. And like I said, then I went on, I need some silk shirts, some sequin vests. And I just Google them, and I find good deals, and I go with it.
That's amazing. That's spectacular. You know, here I am, theater guy, getting a costumer to build me costumes for hundreds of dollars, and we can go online and look. The world has changed so much. So,
Absolutely.
So we're going to wrap up in just a second. I want to give you the opportunity to tell me one last story, any story, thing that you want to share with the audience,
You know
some
what?
special moment.
It's funny because the anniversary is tomorrow, February 7th, 1998. Yes, I am that old. It was my senior year, Lock Haven University. The last time we had a boxing show on campus, I fought a guy, and it's on YouTube, named Michael Jordan. He wanted to go by Mike. We wouldn't announce him as Mike because he looked like the Michael Jordan.
Okay.
And it was the last time that I got to fight in front of my home campus. And what an amazing night it was. I still remember it to this day. The atmosphere was electric, and it was a great win. And he ended up taking second in the Nationals that year, but I beat him handily. And I still remember that like it was yesterday, and it's going to be 21 years tomorrow. But wow, what an amazing night that was. And like that adult prom last year ranks in my top 5 nights ever. But it still never beat the Lock Haven Senior Home Show beating Michael Jordan.
That's fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for your time.
John,
it's been
thank you.
spectacular to talk
Absolutely.
to you. All right, really cool,
My
good
pleasure.
stuff. Listen, folks, you've seen underneath here. Please go to his YouTube page, Tony Tornado, this amazing sort of storyteller, personality, super fan, the whole works. We hope that you will take the time to check more of his stuff out. We want to thank you for joining us today. We want to say to Hank, keep bobbing and weaving. We hope to see you back here in this seat soon. Stan and I don't have anywhere near your talent, and it's tough to sit here. So thanks to you viewers out there. We hope you have a really, really great week.